Everything you keep coming back to with all of this is just like, you love wrestling. Is that what led you to sign with AEW?
Yes. Also the idea of wanting to try something new. I had watched Cody wrestle Penta. Cody did this top rope Frankenstein on Penta. I was like, is that what you have to do? Like, and part of it is scary and part of it is like intriguing. Like, oh, can I do this? I used to be able to do this style. Can I still do this style? I didn't know if WWE was going to start doing the live events and stuff again. At that point, I'd had 2 kids and I was like, I don't want to do that schedule. At AEW, it's just Wednesdays at the time. That was a very appealing schedule to me for my family.
Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon himself, has finally opened up about why he walked away from WWE to join AEW, and his reasons might shock you. In a bombshell interview with Chris Van Vliet, Danielson didn't hold back. He revealed the emotional moment that changed everything, the schedule that was breaking him down, and why AEW's approach won him over completely.
I don't know how many of you are married or have kids, but when you're married and you have kids, your life becomes like a little bit tame. I love it, but it's a little bit tame. I need one part of my life that's a little bit wild, right? That like, you see these guys doing these crazy things and I'm like, oh my God, can I do that? You know what? Hell yes, I can. I don't care. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna show everybody here that what elite really looks like. This is what elite looks like. You know, Punk had come in and said like, oh, I want to help the young guys and all that kind of stuff. No, man, I'm gonna kick their fucking heads. Can I say that word?
Yeah.
Can I say
in this
that?
room you can.
Okay. Yeah.
This isn't just about one wrestler switching companies. This is about what truly matters to talent in today's wrestling industry, and it should be a massive wake-up call for WWE. Here's where everything changed for Bryan Danielson. While still under WWE contract, he watched something that would alter his entire perspective on professional wrestling.
Get that script back in!
It was AEW's tribute show for the late Brody Lee, and it hit Bryan harder than any wrestling angle ever could. In his own words, Danielson explained, "We had a wrestler, Brody Lee, who had passed away. AEW did this incredible tribute show. At that point, I was still with WWE, and the way AEW did that show, Brody was my friend. It touched something in me. But here's the part that should concern WWE." Bryan continued, "I was thinking like, oh, these are the good guys of professional wrestling." Think about the weight of that statement. One of WWE's top stars, still working for them, watched their competition and thought, these are the good guys. That's not just praise for AEW, it's a direct criticism of how WWE handles these deeply personal moments. It suggests WWE treats tragedies as content rather than honoring them with genuine respect.
I have to ask you this because it really tickles me if it's true. Is it true that when you were renegotiating with WWE to potentially stay, that Vince was going to let you do the G1?
So I don't know for sure if he would have let me. The last conversation that we had, where I told him that I was going to, because I told him I was going to go to AEW. I told him like once I make my decision, I'll tell you. And so it was around August of that year. My contract expired the last day of April of 2021.
This tribute show revealed something crucial to Bryan. AEW understood that wrestling is a brotherhood. They showed that when tragedy strikes, you honor your fallen with authenticity and love, not just another produced segment. This moment planted the seed. But there were more reasons pushing Bryan toward the exit. The second major reason Bryan left WWE, his family, plain and simple.
Early August was when I finally decided, and I called him and told him, and he kind of asked me why. And I said, well, this, that, the other, one of the things I want to do is I want to do the I want to work with New Japan and do the G1. And he did say in that moment, I don't know if it would have actually ever come to fruition, that I'd let you do that or whatever it is. And so yeah, I think maybe.
After years of WWE's relentless schedule, the pandemic gave Bryan time to reevaluate what truly mattered. And when WWE started ramping back up to full touring, he realized he couldn't go back to that life. Here's what Bryan told Chris Van Vliet. There was also the idea at the time, the pandemic was just kind of ending and they were starting to do live shows again. I didn't know if WWE was going to start doing the live events and stuff again because of that schedule. At that point, we had 2 kids, and I was like, I don't want to do that schedule anymore.
There was also the idea at the time, the pandemic was just kind of ending, and we're starting to do live shows again. I didn't know if WWE was going to start doing the live events and stuff again, because that schedule at that point we had 2 kids, and I was like, I don't want to do that schedule.
The difference between WWE and AEW's schedules was staggering. Bryan explained, at AEW, it's just Wednesdays. At the time, it was just Wednesdays, and I was like, that was a very appealing schedule to me for my family.
Like, at AEW, it's just Wednesdays. At the time, it was just Wednesdays. And I was like, that was a very appealing schedule to me for my family.
Let that sink in. WWE had Bryan on the road 6 or 7 days a week, constant flights, hotels, live events, TV tapings. He was never home. AEW offered 1 day of work per week. For a father of 2 young children who wanted to actually be present for their childhood, this wasn't even a difficult decision. Bryan emphasized this point. That was a very appealing schedule to me for my family. Remember, this is also a man dealing with serious neck issues. He revealed, I have degeneration from C1 all the way down to T2. I'm on the cusp of needing surgery.
So I have degeneration from C1 all the way down to T2. So it's like cervical.
Your entire
one.
neck.
Yeah. So it's like, there's, it's like I'm on the cusp of needing surgery.
His body couldn't handle WWE's grueling pace anymore. Even the lighter AEW schedule took its toll. I was actually doing really well until I started traveling more, and then it's really gone downhill.
I was actually doing really well until I started traveling, and then it's really gone downhill.
WWE's schedule wasn't just inconvenient, it was physically destroying him. But it wasn't just about schedule and respect. Bryan wanted to prove something to himself about the kind of wrestler he still was. One specific moment caught his attention and wouldn't let go. Bryan described watching Cody Rhodes face Penta. I had watched Cody wrestle Penta, and I used to ride with Cody. He did this like, they're both standing on the top and Cody does this top rope Frankensteiner on Penta. Like, is that what you have to do? And part of it is scary and part of it is intriguing. Like, oh, can I do this? I used to be able to do this style. Can I still do this style?
I had watched Cody wrestle Penta, and I used to ride with Cody. He did this like, they're both standing on the top, and Cody did this top rope Frankenstein on Penta. I was like, is that what you have to do? Like, and part of it is scary and part of it is like intriguing, like, oh, can I do this? I used to be able to do this style. Can I still do this style?
This was about returning to the athletic, hard-hitting style that made him fall in love with wrestling in the first place. The style AEW showcased every week. Bryan knew time was running out. I always kind of wanted to push myself. I knew it was probably the last wrestling contract I'd ever sign. I wanted to see if my body could still do some of these things.
Like, I always kind of wanted to push myself. I knew it was probably the last wrestling contract I'd ever sign. And then I also wanted to see if my body could still do some of these things.
This reveals a fundamental difference between the companies. AEW let their wrestlers truly wrestle. Fast-paced, athletic, sports-based action. WWE had more restrictions on style and presentation. For Bryan, this was about artistic fulfillment. Could he still perform at that elite level? AEW gave him the platform to find out, and the results spoke for themselves. Bryan said, by the end of my AEW run, I was better mentally at wrestling than I'd ever been.
By the end of my AEW run, I thought I was better mentally at wrestling than I'd ever been.
That's a powerful statement from someone who main evented WrestleMania and had a legendary WWE career. His peak as a wrestler came in AEW, not WWE. Perhaps nothing illustrates Bryan's fulfillment in AEW better than this revelation. His favorite career moment wasn't in WWE. It wasn't winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 30 in front of 75,000 screaming fans. It was winning the AEW World Championship at All In at Wembley Stadium.
We're just in a sleeper hold, man.
Yeah. Ed Koski brought that up.
We're just in a sleeper hold.
Sleeper for
but
sleeper.
we're having that conversation with the audience.
Yeah.
So as I essentially take my last breath, I have struggled. If you think of somebody, the natural causes scenario, or however we picture loss in our life, all of us have been through it. They struggle, they struggle, they struggle. They hang on just long enough to make sure to say goodbye to everybody that's been meaningful in their lives. And that whole day was so many unbelievably vulnerable, meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
Physically, I feel great. I think it's time to take that last breath.
Yeah.
And that's that, I hate to keep going back morbidly to obituaries, but like, this person died peacefully.
He's faced death with a smile.
Yes. And knowing that, like, man, we are in a good place. We're going to be great going forward. And this is literally like the bottom of the t-shirt says, I gave everything. Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
And that, in that one moment, that was that going peacefully.
John Cena compares his retirement to facing death peacefully. Now, in his first interview since losing to Gunther at Saturday night's main event, John Cena is breaking his silence and explaining something that left the WWE universe divided. Why he smiled while tapping out in his final match. The 17-time world champion sat down with Cody Rhodes and revealed the deeply personal story he was trying to tell. Let's break it all down. So let's set the scene. December 13th, Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C. John Cena, the man who built a career on the motto "Never Give Up," steps into the ring one last time against Gunther, the ring general. The match comes to an end with Gunther locking in a sleeper hold, and here's where it gets controversial. Cena weakly taps out with a smile on his face. Not a defiant scream, not a heroic last stand, but a peaceful surrender with a smile.
I knew it. I knew it. That was it.
Here is your winner by submission, the ring general.
The fan reaction? Absolutely polarizing. Some fans were heartbroken, others were confused, and many felt it wasn't the ending the Cenation leader deserved. But John Cena appeared on Cody Rhodes' podcast, What Do You Want to Talk About?, and explained exactly what he was thinking at that moment. Cena revealed that his entire farewell tour was designed to represent the cycle of someone facing the end of their life. Think about that for a second. This wasn't just a retirement tour. It was a metaphor for mortality itself.
I think it's time to take that last breath.
Yeah.
And that's that, I hate to keep going back morbidly to obituaries, but like.
Here's what Cena said, and I'm paraphrasing here. He described the atmosphere at Saturday night's main event as almost overwhelming. They had to move the side ramps to fit more seats. He joked it was nearly a fire hazard just getting to the ring. The crowd universally cheered him, which he called rare, and they hated Gunther, setting up the perfect dynamic. But here's the key part. For those final 5 minutes in that sleeper hold, Cena said he was having a conversation with the audience. His loved ones were in the front row, his colleagues watching backstage, and he was in the ring, essentially taking his last breath as a wrestler.
I always attack things from a what's the story? What is our why? Why are we doing this?
Yes.
You have to start out with why you're painting the picture. I envisioned something beautiful. Saturday far exceeded whatever was in my heart and soul.
Yeah.
So I know I'm out there one last time. They had to move the side ramps in. to put more seats. And it almost was like a fire hazard to go down the ramp. You cannot fit anymore. I know it's an old wrestler story, but I'm setting the stage for why I was so filled with.
He compared it to someone dying of natural causes. They struggle, they fight, they hold on just long enough to say goodbye to everyone meaningful in their lives. And then, when they've made peace with everyone they love, they let go peacefully. That's what the smile was about. Cena said, "I've connected with everybody I love. Physically, I feel great. I think it's time to take that last breath." He even referenced obituaries that say, "This person died peacefully," and compared his finish to facing death with a smile, like Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars.
But I'm setting the stage for why I was so filled with joy. You can't fit any more people in it.
Yeah.
They hate the guy I'm working with. They universally cheer me.
Now here's where Cena gets really philosophical. He acknowledged that once you put your art out there, it's no longer yours. It belongs to the audience. And most people didn't get what he was trying to say, and he's actually okay with that. Cena said, "The audience didn't necessarily get it, and 9 times out of 10, they don't even need to get it. But if you go in with no story, you're just doing a stunt show." The bottom of his farewell t-shirt read, "I gave everything. Thank you for everything." And in that one moment of tapping out with a smile, Cena was embodying that message, going peacefully, knowing he gave it all.
With a smile.
Yes. And knowing that, like, man, we are in a good place. We're going to be great going forward. And this is literally like the bottom of the t-shirt says, "I gave everything. Thank you for everything."
Yeah.
And that, in that one moment, that was that going peacefully.
He wanted to paint a picture of someone who had lived fully, loved deeply, and was ready to let go. Whether fans agreed with that artistic choice or not, Cena stayed true to his vision. Before the podcast dropped, Cena posted something cryptic on Instagram that had fans scratching their heads, a photo of a broken roll of quarters with no caption. People were speculating like crazy. Is he broke? Does he need change? Is he doing laundry? A reverse image search showed the photo was from 2012 and appeared in an article about rare valuable quarters. So what was Cena trying to say? Was it about his value being overlooked? About breaking down his legacy into smaller pieces? We don't have a definitive answer, but knowing Cena's approach to storytelling, it was probably another layer of symbolism about his retirement, something about breaking apart what was once whole, or the value of what remains after something ends.
And then you realize, I've connected with everybody I love.
Yeah.
I think it's time to take that last breath.
Yeah.
And that's that. I hate to keep going back morbidly to obituaries, but like, this person died peacefully.
Yeah. He's faced death with a smile.
Yes. And knowing that, like, man, we are in a good place. We're going to be great going forward.
The 2-hour interview covered way more than just the retirement match. Here are some highlights. The 2025 heel turn. Cena admitted his controversial heel turn earlier in the year was a creative risk. Original plans involving The Rock and Travis Scott fell through, and WWE needed to create a moment at Elimination Chamber. Cena was willing to sacrifice his positive reputation to make it work.
Cena took a swing off bottom.
Praise for Gunther. Cena called Gunther relentless and spoke with deep respect for the ring general's "the mat is sacred" philosophy. He said it was an honor to face someone with that level of dedication in his final match. CM Punk in Saudi Arabia. Cena singled out a pre-show segment with CM Punk in Saudi Arabia as his favorite moment of the year, praising Punk for being accountable and the audience for being forgiving.